One problem जो entrepreneurs generally face करते हैं 0 to 1 और cold start problems.
So if they trust you as a founder, as someone who's running the business, they're likely to go and invest.
कि आपके first set of members आपने कैसे hire किया?
People who join you may not have the same patience and persistence that you have because startups go through their own journeys. So you have to not only build once, but you may have to rebuild your team many times.
What is alternative investment class?
अगर आप Google करें alternative investments, it is defined as all investments other than stocks, gold, and FD.
And what are bonds?
But these are where large companies could be a Reliance, Adani, HDFC Bank, even the government of India wants money, and when they take a loan from you as an investor, that is called a bond.
So if I have 1 lakh to invest today, what will be your suggestion?
I think in this market, there are probably 2 principles that are important. Number 1, diversify. Second is in whatever you're investing, pick really high quality names.
Hi everyone, welcome to new episode of Growthcast podcast. Growthcast is a podcast that is designed to help you learn from business leaders, help you become better with your personal finances. I will also like to talk about Salaried Club and Salaried Women Club. ये communities हैं जो मैं working professionals के लिए build कर रहा हूँ और यहाँ पे आप network कर सकते हैं, learn कर सकते हैं और job referrals पा सकते हैं. इनको join करने का link भी description में है. Let's start today's episode. Welcome Nikhil, welcome to Growthcast podcast and thank you so much for taking out time.
My pleasure, Shank.
First of all, I would like to understand your entrepreneurship journey and the story behind Gripinvest, how you came across this idea and how everything started.
Sure. I think most entrepreneurship journeys, most ideas come when a lot of dots sort of fall in place, and you combine the dots as a founder to think, yaar, ye bhi ho sakta hai.
Right.
This can also be a business. So I think while Grip started in 2020, in many ways, the idea of Grip was probably built up over a decade of time. I started my journey as an investment banker, and there I saw the challenge of how to invest money.
Right.
Because my options were limited in terms of what I could invest. In 2016, I started a company called Chalo, which was in the mobility space. And as an SME, we faced challenges in raising money. So I saw both sides of the equation. And then I spent some time at the World Bank, where it wasn't just my company, but I saw companies at large in India struggle to raise money.
Right.
I think Grip was a culmination of those chota points. And where I realized that there are lots of individuals who are looking to invest their money, but they don't want the volatility or risk of the equity market. At the same time, they don't want the super safe FD returns for 100% of their portfolio.
Right.
And at the other side, there were companies in India who were looking for capital to grow. We're a large growing economy. We're luxury to be a large growing economy. And Grip sort of became a place or an idea where we could marry these individual investors' expectations for high returns with low volatility and these companies looking for growth capital.
Right.
And that's how Grip started in 2020. I think it's just all of these things coming together.
Got it. And one problem जो entrepreneurs generally face करते हैं 0 to 1 or cold start problem. So how did you solve for that particular cold start problem, getting your first set of customers on board?
Yeah. The first set of customers, especially in finance, I believe will come with people who have a lot of trust in you. Right? Because money is a business of trust. So if they trust you as a founder, as someone who's running the business, they're likely to go and invest. I think the first, I would say almost 6 months of Grip, whoever we saw come and use our platform were people who knew us personally, right? And said, okay, if this person is offering or creating this investment opportunity, he must be doing a decent job with it because I trust him, and then I'll put my money. Fortunately, we were able to deliver, or those opportunities were able to deliver. And then we saw a lot of referral happen. So, you would tell your friend, कि अच्छा मैंने इसमें डाला, I got my money back, it was good returns. And then more people started investing. 60% of all people who have joined Grip have come through referrals. So, or organically found us. And hence for us, that was how we got over the cold start problem and then sort of built up from there.
And one thing, Nikhil, that also happens कि आप जब कुछ start करते हो, so you have an idea, you have conviction, but how do you build team around it? कि आपके first set of members आपने कैसे hire किया, फिर कैसे identify किया कि यार इसमें से ये लोग भी same level पे motivated हैं कि नहीं, and how do you keep that motivation going on?
Yeah, I wish I had a straightforward answer. People join a company for different motivations.
Right.
And I think I'd like to have tell you कि यार you will always find the person who's always motivated about your problem and only build a team like that. वो नहीं होता. And people who join you may not have the same patience and persistence that you have, because startups go through their own journeys. So you have to not only build once, but you may have to rebuild your team many times, and people will join you for different reasons. And in my view, that's okay. What I think is critical is having co-founders, okay? 1, 2, 3, depending on the company you're building, who have the same level of conviction, persistence, and drive to make it happen. I think I was fortunate to find 2 co-founders who had worked with me before at Chalo, and the 3 of us were committed to build for this. And then over a period of the next 6 months, hire certain core members in our team who, from day 1 to now, have really shaped how Grip has happened. Along the way, some of our team members have left, but that core team has remained in place.
Right.
And we are able to build on top of each other's conviction, support each other when times are tougher to see it through. But yes, other employees have joined for other reasons, to be part of a good, fast-growing startup, for compensation. And that's fine. I think that's okay.
Right.
As a company, we will obviously constantly invest in culture, giving people the right set of opportunities, and hopefully continue to attract good talent.
Got it. I shift gears, Nikhil. थोड़ा सा मैं ये भी समझना चाहूँगा, what is alternative investment class and what kind of investments are available, if you can demystify for the audience.
Yeah. I actually, and I've said this at many times before, I really dislike the word alternative investment class, because उसका ना कोई definition नहीं है.
Right.
It is, अगर आप Google करें alternative investments, it is defined as all investments other than stocks, gold, and FD. Okay. So because that class is so big, it doesn't have a definition.
Right.
What we know is that especially Indian investors, 99% of portfolio is in 3 asset classes in financial assets: stock markets, FD, and to some extent gold. Real estate is considered a physical asset class, so I'll remove that. But these 3 asset classes. Now, हर asset class में positives भी हैं और negatives भी हैं. Stock is high return but high volatility. इस हफ्ते में we've seen the peak of it.
We've seen the bloodbath.
We've seen the bloodbath. FD is low return, low volatility. And gold is a safety hedge. Over a long period of time, it's given a good return, but it has a different place in your portfolio.
Right.
I think the objective of alternative investments and products like corporate bonds, investing in fractional real estate, even investing in funds or private equity, have the ability to give a different flavor to your portfolio. FD say give 6 to 7%. Stocks, you hope, give 13, 14, 15%. But जो बीच का 8 से 14% है, alternative investments try to solve for that. Right? Or at least the alternative investments Grip provides tries to solve for that. The idea is, how do you make sure that an investor has a balanced portfolio? Alternative investments are one way to solve for that balanced portfolio.
Got it. And what are bonds, and generally what are some of the things that people should look at while they are investing in a bond? If you can tell more about that.
Sure. Bond is nothing but a large company.
Got it.
Taking a loan from you. Okay. Loan is something we all understand. Normally we take loans from banks, but these are where large companies, could be a Reliance, Adani, HDFC Bank, even the government of India, right, wants money. And when they take a loan from you as an investor, that is called a bond. Okay. This could be a government bond. It could be a corporate bond. In return for taking this loan, as any loan has, this corporate promises to give you interest, and return your principal over a fixed period of time. This is what is called a bond. Typically, a bond has a maturity of between 16 to 18 months and gives you returns of 10 to 12%. Okay. What people do not sometimes realize is that this is a very, very large market in India. On a yearly basis, about $230 billion of bonds are issued in India. As compared to that, $20 billion of equity is issued in India. So this bond market is about 10 times larger than the equity market in India.
Right.
It is now available to retail investors. And coming to your second point, I think the most important thing for any investment is to keep in mind the risk. Right? if I'm investing in this, how much is the risk I'm taking? And then according to the risk, how much is the return I'm getting? The good thing about bonds is that risk is available as a measure through independent rating agencies. So there are large companies like CRISIL, ICRA, CARE, who are regulated by SEBI and publish reports which talk about the risk of a bond. Investors should look at that, understand what risk they're comfortable taking, and then make sure they're getting the right amount of return.
Got it. So ये risk का perception is basically because you are giving loan to a big organization, or is it because investor अभी education ही नहीं है तो अभी लगता है कि it's kind of myth that is going around कि बहुत ज़्यादा risky है?
Yeah, it's definitely the second. जब हमें पता नहीं होता है, so we assume that there's a lot of risk. आप किसी से normally पूछे सड़क पर कि bond कितना risky है, तो बोलेंगे काफी risky है, right? But there is no measure कि वो कितना risky है, वो पता नहीं है. The reality is that when you go to the numbers, the bond market has performed very well in India with very little default.
Right.
Okay. And hence, as that awareness creates, which is exactly what you said, as people become more aware, the chances are that people will understand कि इसमें risk कम है, and this is an interesting instrument to invest in.
Got it. And what about regulation? Is it regulated? Like we were talking before the conversation, you told that it is now also getting regulated. So what's the regulation around this?
Yeah. So in 2023, SEBI, made a new regulation to offer bonds to retail investors.
Right.
मैंने बोला कि $230 billion है, तो it's not, bonds have always been around in India. But I think SEBI and the government of India realized that for India economy to become more stronger, to become more powerful, retail investors should also participate in bonds. Okay. A lot of us talk about how retail investors have participated in equity market. Roughly 17 to 20% of Indian equity market is held by retail investors.
Right.
And hence that's a very important part for India's economy to grow. The same is also true for bond markets. And hence, in the last 3 years, SEBI has taken several actions to make this space regulated. Number one, as a platform, Gripinvest is a SEBI regulated platform to offer fixed income investments, to offer bonds.
Right.
We have a license from SEBI. The second thing SEBI has done is that instead of having you to invest a lot of money, you can now invest as little as 1,000 rupees to invest in a bond, to buy a bond. So you can start small, keep your risk less, diversify.
Right.
In the budget recently, the government of India has even removed TDS on bonds up to a certain limit.
Okay.
So there have been several steps taken along the way to make bonds not only regulated, but very safe to invest in, completely dematerialized, and that's helping the market grow.
Got it. And talking about markets, I would like to shift gear and get your 2 cents on what's happening in the market right now and why is there so much volatility in the market?
I wish there was a smarter answer to this. But, we are, for the first time maybe in history, seeing market volatility to this extent,
right,
caused by a single human being. Right. He's truly the most powerful person on the planet. Certain decisions and reasons best known to him have obviously resulted in announcements around tariffs for countries across the world. I think what is more problematic is the uncertainty of what may actually play out.
Which side of the bed he wakes up and he decides to take on that side.
So one day you have tariffs, one day you don't have tariffs.
Right.
And when you have that situation happening with amounts that are trillions of dollars and affects every country in the world, people or investors are bound to be confused on what to do.
Right.
Imagine you're an Indian export company. You get up one day and you say, all my goods are now more expensive. The next day you say, no, all my goods are not more expensive. Now you don't know what will happen the third day, right? And hence you don't know how to behave. Same is true for investors. And I think it has led to a lot of volatility, both with respect to stocks, but also with respect to government bonds, at least US government bonds. It's unfortunate. And we generally expect governments to give long-term directional, stable messages. Hopefully sense will prevail at some time and we'll see some stability.
Got it. So अगर मैं इसको रिटेल इन्वेस्टर के लिए डबल डाउन करूं, so if I have 1 lakh to invest today, what will be your suggestion? What kind of investment allocation I should be looking at, and what should be the mental model I should be following there?
Yeah. So I think for a retail investor, and I'm a retail investor, so I'll speak from my perspective as well. I think it's you don't want confusion and volatility, right? What you want is कि मेरा capital safe रहे. I should see a good rate of return, and I don't want to wake up every morning thinking कि मेरे पैसे डूब तो नहीं गए, right? Or have I had a 20% loss? I think that's the basic case that most retail investors are trying to solve for. I think in this market, there are probably two principles that are important. Number one, diversify, right? There is probably no one asset class which should take up all of your money. Because if you say, okay, यार FD तो बहुत ही stable है, I'll put it in HDFC Bank or SBI FD, absolutely stable. But then your returns may not be even enough to cover inflation.
Right.
If you say मैं सारे equity market में डालूंगा, you'll see volatility. So I think it's important to diversify it. Second is, in whatever you're investing, pick really high quality names, right? Is a Reliance Industries or an HDFC Bank or an SBI likely to see as much volatility as a small cap? Answer is no.
No.
Right? A large cap will see less volatility than a small cap. So whether you're investing in equity, whether you're investing in bonds, whether you're investing in FD, stick with the names that have proven that they can withstand time, crisis, pressure, ताकि you are on the safer side. Over a period of time, you'll have lots of opportunities to take advantages of a market, invest back in small caps. But I think in today's environment, choosing stability, choosing safer names is probably a better answer along with diversification.
Got it. And diversification की बात करो तो मैं चाहूँगा कि आप थोड़ा ऑडियंस को ये भी एक्सप्लेन कर दो कि FD और एक बॉन्ड में डिफरेंसेस क्या होते हैं, एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ रिटर्न्स व्हाट काइंड ऑफ रिटर्न्स वन कैन एक्सपेक्ट इन FD इन कंपैरिजन टू बॉन्ड, सो दैट वो थोड़ा कंपैरिजन थोड़ा क्लियर हो जाए.
Sure. तो in a way both are loans.
ठीक है ना?
Okay. FD is a loan taken by a bank from you on which they give you interest. Corporate bond is also a loan taken by a company on which they give you interest. तो principle दोनों के same है.
ठीक है.
Return की बात करें तो an FD, at least a large bank FD, will give you 5 to 7% depending on the tenure. There are also small finance banks which will give you between 8 to 9%, or I would say 7 to 8% unless you're a senior citizen. Okay?
And this category is picking up right now.
This category is picking up. I think as the interest rates are coming down, again some amount of interest is going away from this category because now RBI has cut rates twice. तो सारे interest rates कम हो रहे हैं, but this category has definitely picked up in the last 12 months.
Right.
In case of bonds, the returns are between 10 to 13%. So between these two products, bonds give you almost 3 to 5% more returns than FDs give you. FDs, funnily enough, are unsecured. There is no security behind an FD, while as bonds are actually secured. The one big difference is that FDs up to 5 lakh rupees with a bank have an RBI guarantee.
Right.
Okay. But beyond 5 lakhs, there is no RBI guarantee. There is no security. It is basically a product built on trust of large banks to be able to repay money, while as bonds are built on security within the structure. Other than that, truly there are no differences. Both pay you interest on a monthly basis. In both cases, you will get your principal back. Taxation for both is also the same. So there are almost no other main differences between these two products. It's simply a matter of loan. Who's taking the loan from you?
Right.
How much interest are they paying?
And is there any lock-in period also, like FDs generally tend to be of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year?
Yeah.
So is there lock-in in bond also? And जैसे आजकल step-up FD का भी concept चला हुआ है. So is there a step-up concept in bond as well?
Yeah. So, both, like if I take an example of an FD, FDs have a tenure. Like you take an FD for 1 year or 2 years, but you can break the FD.
Right.
आपको interest कम मिलता है, but you can break the FD. Bonds also have a fixed tenure, 1 year, 2 year, 2.5 year. But now you can sell your bond before the tenure is over.
Okay.
So you can choose कि यार मेरे को 3 महीने hold किया, मुझे पैसे की जरूरत है, I can sell it. So some platforms like Grip have started enabling people the option to sell their bond before maturity.
Right.
So even in that regard, bonds and FDs have the similar nature. There is no step up concept in bonds. You once you have a certain interest rate, that interest rate applies for the period of the bond.
Got it. Now I'll shift gears and understand from you on your career side कि when you decided कि अब time आ गया है, maybe make a pivot, maybe start my startup journey, और वो decision कितना difficult था लेना, and how you made people around you understand that you are now going on this journey.
Yeah, I think for me, and I would think every founder has their own journey, has their own story on this. Like I said, I started my career in banking, and I spent 6 years in an investment bank called Morgan Stanley. It was an incredible learning opportunity. Like I would know if I had to restart my career, I would not choose any other place to learn the kind of people I worked with, the kind of opportunities I got. I think after 6 years, there was a hunger to do something different. And I feel somewhere that desire to do something entrepreneurial was always there. I was about 30 years old, and I had been able to get some savings. Fortunately, my parents, my siblings were all in a great place, and I could take a call in my life to say, this is a good time to take that chance of risk and go for it.
Right.
I didn't have any, I didn't have children. I didn't have any responsibilities that I would have to plan for. So I had a lot of flexibility in my life, and I just felt that this is a perfect opportunity to go for it. I so happened to came across two gentlemen who were building something that was exciting, and I was motivated to join them as a co-founder, and that's how it happened. I don't think there was more thought behind it, and my family was incredibly supportive to say, if you want to do this, go for it.
बट निखिल देयर माइट बी डेज ना जहाँ पे आपका मोटिवेशन बहुत हाई रहता होगा, कई दिन ये रॉक बॉटम पे हिट करता होगा. सो हाउ यू नेविगेट थ्रू दैट फेज?
Yeah, it's not many days. In the same day, you'll have high motivation and rock bottom. That's how it is. Sometimes when you have high motivation for multiple days, you're wondering what are you missing. Something's about to go wrong. So I think it's just part of this. And I'd like to, when we were 2 years old, I thought ki chalo yaar, by the time we're 4 or 5, it'll reduce. It doesn't. It's just the nature of building. I think there are 2 things that help. Maybe 3 things that help. One is having a supportive set of co-founders. I think the second is having a incredible support system at home. Right. Fortunately for me, my wife really understands what it takes to be a founder. She's been a founder herself. Right. She's currently also running her own company, which is in the similar years. So I think for me, it's fortunate to have her support at home and my co-founders and core team support in the office to understand my situation and then to be able to, sometimes just sit and bitch about it or just talk about it and everyone says, okay, yeah, we're all going through this. Right. So it's a shared misery. I think the other thing that helps is just taking a step back and saying, are we doing the right things? And as long as we're doing the right things, wo ho jayega, right? All you can think about a lot of times is input. Output is outside your control many times. So I think about, would I do anything different in this problem? And the answer is no. Then I have to just trust the process.
Got it. अगर मैं इकोसिस्टम की बात करूं, इन जनरल हमने देखा था एक बहुत बड़ा फेज आया था जहाँ पे फंडिंग इट almost shot up in 2020, 2021. Then people talked about funding winter. But now what is going on in the ecosystem with the advent of AI? What are some of the changes or maybe investment flowing in that you are seeing at your level?
I think I'll talk about AI separately. But I think generally in the ecosystem, we are somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
You see, human behavior is, either peak and troughs. Right. And we are always in motion, right? We are like a wave.
Sinusoidal wave.
बिल्कुल. तो जब वो वेव बीच में आते कहीं on the way up, we're somewhere there in my view. So there's a lot of balance today where people are investing money, companies are getting funded, but the process of evaluating companies is now taking longer.
Right.
वो जो 2021 में हमने देखा था कि टर्म शीट आपको 1-2 दिन में मिल रही है, that has gone away.
आइडिया आपने सोचा और टर्म शीट आ गई,
वो नहीं है, thank God. Right? That's not how companies should be built. So I think we're in a phase where companies and founders are being more practical about valuation, when to raise money. Investors are also being more practical. But if you have a good team, if you have a good idea, good execution, money is available and people are getting funded. AI is a different story. I think there is a certain level of euphoria around AI. some for the right reasons, some for the wrong reasons. But AI companies are probably a notch ahead when it comes to the ability to get funded today.
Right.
I hope that euphoria, plays out for the right reasons and for a longer period of time. AI will 100% change how we all operate. Will change our lives. But even within AI, finding the right business model, right team capabilities, and AI is not an India phenomena. Whatever is built in AI will be built for the world,
Right.
because it is so scalable.
Right.
And hence it's important to make sure that the team that is getting invested in India has the ability to compete globally.
Right.
There are no boundaries.
Right. Got it. अभी हमने शुरू में काफी बात इसके अराउंड भी की कि बॉन्ड्स क्या होता है और एफडी क्या होता है. आई विल आल्सो लाइक टू अंडरस्टैंड एक टिपिकल यूजर पर्सोना फॉर योर टारगेट यूजर जो आपके यूजर्स हैं. व्हाट इज देयर पर्सोना, वेयर दे कम फ्रॉम, व्हिच काइंड ऑफ जॉब्स आर दे डूइंग, सो दैट पीपल वाचिंग दिस आल्सो रेजोनेट कि हाँ इस टाइप के लोग भी इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं.
देखिए, जो भी फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट बनता है तो इट ऑलवेज स्टार्ट्स विद पीपल हु आर मोर अवेयर, more financially savvy, and then it trickles down.
Right.
Every financial product. Same has happened for bonds. I think 2 years back, people who were investing were largely people based in metro cities who were 35 to 45, more mature, working in finance, legal profession, people in technology backgrounds, right? Who are always up to date with what's happening new. In the last 6 months, we have started seeing this change.
Okay.
It has now moved to a much broader audience, where about 30% of people who are investing on Grip have less than 5 lakh rupees of annual income.
Oh,
okay. Because minimum ticket size is 1,000 rupees, right? And till 10 lakh rupees, there's no income tax. So this product is becoming very interesting for them to also look at. Grip users now come from 10% of all PIN codes in India. Okay. And we're a young company. To cover 10% of all PIN codes means that that we are far beyond tier 1, tier 2.
Right.
But even
penetration is now going.
Penetration is going. So I think things are changing quite quickly, especially since the regulations came. And I'm starting to see a very varied base of customers invest, but very similar behavior of how they reinvest on the platform.
Got it. And Nikhil, अगर कोई प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाता है ग्रिप पे and they have to look at investing, तो bonds को select करते समय what are certain filters, like mutual fund में people suggest कि आप rolling rate of returns देख लो. यहाँ पे what are some of the filters that they can put in, and how do you assess them basically in making that decision?
Yeah. So I would say that anyone should look at 3 filters. Okay. इसका risk कितना है, इसका return कितना है, और ये tenure कितना है.
Okay.
ठीक है. 3 things पर focus करते हैं. Anything more than that is up to you to decide. You want to spend time. Information is available. Risk is the most important. So, like I said before, easiest way to look at risk is look at the rating.
Okay.
CRISIL की rating, ICRA की rating, everything is published. Rating report है, उसको पढ़िए. Make sure that you are comfortable with the rating. AAA rated is considered the highest quality, super safe. BBB is considered investment grade and is the lowest rating available on our platform.
Okay.
So AAA से BBB.
उसके
Anything
नीचे
below BBB is considered junk bonds, not investment grade. We do not offer them on the platform. So AAA is highest, BBB is higher risk. ठीक है. Second is return. जितना risk बढ़ता रहता है उतना return बढ़ता रहता है. AAA will be 7 to 8%, BBB will be 13%, 13 to 14%. So pick your risk and return. And third is tenure. How much time do you want to invest for? Do you want to invest for 3 months? Do you want to invest for 36 months? Pick whichever combination you work, and there'll be a product on Grip available for you.
Got it.
One other thing that we've done for investors, first-time investors, to come and explore is we have created something called baskets.
Okay.
We've said, don't, again, diversification, right? Don't pick a single bond. If you're not sure what to invest in, pick a basket which has 5-10 bonds in it. So in one shot, you're investing in 5 bonds.
Right.
And that will allow you to make an easier decision, but also a more diversified decision.
Plus also mitigates your risk as well.
That's
Some
right.
of them would. Got it. And I'll come to the last phase of our discussion. Also wanted to understand where you see this industry going in next 1 to 2 years, and what kind of disruptions you see happening here.
The bond markets across the world are larger than the equity markets.
Right.
And in my view, we will see in the next few years the same happen in India. Maybe not few years, maybe 5 or 6 years. But we will see retail participation increase in bonds the same way that it is increasing in equity markets. I think there are 2-3 big factors for it. One is, today in every user's hand, there is a mobile phone with a UPI app on it.
Right.
Okay. So they're getting used to making financial transactions on an app, irrespective of income segment. Those apps, whether that app is a Paytm, a Super Money, a Phone Pay, a Bharat Pay, all of those apps are increasingly telling people also about investments.
Right.
It could be mutual funds, it could be FDs, and very soon it could be bonds as well. So every Indian will soon have the power of investments in a financial app that they already trust.
Right.
I mean, this is the core of embedded finance, right? But I think that India has always accelerated adoption through new technology, right? Mobile phones, UPI, and then on the top of these two foundations, there will be a variety of financial services that will be offered.
Right.
So I think that is going to happen. I think the second is that the minimum ticket size has become regulated. It's become small, which is allowing access to happen. And as people understand the safety or the security available in this sector, adoption will increase. So in my view, this market has, not in my view, then this market has grown nearly 500% in the last 1 year.
Right.
It has the potential to keep compounding at the rate as some of these things play out.
Got it. I think with that, I'm done with my set of questions. Thank you so much for taking out time. I think audience also got some nuggets of wisdom if they are planning to invest in bond, how they should go about it. I'll put link to Gripinvest in the description section. You guys can have a look at it. And thank you so much.
My pleasure, Shan. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. If you like today's episode, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comment section किस guest को हम next बुलाएं.